Hey, what's happening? It's Dominic D'Angelo here of adfreeshows.com, SEscoops.com, and brassringmedia.com. Check it out. Be sure to like, share, subscribe to that, and wherever you're tuning in here, whether that's on the Rumor and Innuendo YouTube channel or the Ad Free Shows YouTube channel. Or, hey, you're checking me out on X, whether that's at WeCreative_ish or at my account at Dominic D'Angelo. Hey, as you can tell, I'm flying solo again. Dom Solo here. And I will be previewing AEW Forbidden Door for this weekend. Lots to talk about on tap. There is some news regarding certain wrestlers and that developing story with Hulk Hogan and his passing. So we'll chat about that. Let's say hi to some folks in the chat here. Triple E says, "What's up? What's up?" Alt Jake takes on Happy R and Friday. I know you meant to put the I there, but that's okay. I understand. Hey, I still got to check out your guys' show, you and Wrestling Old Head. So don't think that I didn't forget. I remembered. So I just got to tune in. Dre Owen says, "Happy Friday. Is it too much to wish to have Luchasaurus take out Kip and his new partner be Jack Perry for the tag match on Sunday?" I think that's the next ripple in this story. If you noticed, who was injecting Luchasaurus with that serum, so to speak, that super soldier serum, had a similar jacket to Mr. Jack Perry. So thinking we're going to what was their team name? Lucha Express? No, Jungle Express? What was their team name? Them reuniting is on the horizon. So, and I think that's a good move. I think they should be baby faces though. There's just money. People, I think Jurassic Express, that's what it was. Thank you. Jurassic Express. I think there's just more money in Jack Perry and Luchasaurus being baby faces, a babyface tag team. You need something like that. I think it was cut short. Turning Jack Perry heel, not a good move. Not a good move. I think, too, you rebuild his character and you rebuild his persona by doing that. Dang it, that's another question I should have asked of Tony Khan. Look, so I was on the media conference call yesterday with Tony Khan, and I wish I would have asked a different question than what I asked. So nothing too crazy came to fruition when it came to that media conference call. I think something about HBO Max, though, in regards to pay-per-views, did get a little bit of buzz. Let me make sure that I covered that properly here. Okay, so HBO Max joining the pay-per-view provider party. So he did say this. The support of the fans have been tremendous. So certainly pay-per-view is a great platform for AEW, working with great providers. Right now they're working with Amazon Prime. They're tremendous, working with all the cable and satellite companies in demand, pay-per-view.com, now YouTube. Some really great partners joining us in the future when it's ready to go. I also look forward to HBO Max joining the pay-per-view provider party. AEW certainly feed HBO Max, Warner Brothers, TNT, and TBS. These relationships as being lifeblood as the company. So he did allude that there will be pay-per-views in the future for HBO Max. I wish I would have asked. This gave me so many things I wish I would have asked instead of what I asked on the media call. So I get my turn to ask, and I figured, why not do some brand synergy? It's going to be in the news cycle here, but before the next time we get to speak to Tony on one of these media calls. So I was like, I'm going to ask about their Philadelphia residents, and can we expect some surprises, some ECW kind of surprises, and how will he embrace maybe the ECW being at the 2300 arena for the first time with AEW? Thought that was a pretty decent question, and I figured I could cross-pollinate with working with RVD and maybe getting RVD's perspective on that as well. And, Tony Khan having his quotes about it. Well, hindsight's 2020 with this stuff, but Tony didn't really give me too much of an answer when it came to that. He just made mention that they want to make this a special thing for AEW too, the 2300 arena. And at the same time, there's plenty of other promotions besides ECW that went through there, including ROH and stuff like that. So he didn't really give me anything when it came to that. So gee whiz, what a bummer. You know what I mean? But when the conference call comes around, I usually have a couple questions in my mind in case, number one, somebody asked that question already, or number two, I decide that what I was going to ask was not a good question, or I wanted something better. I wanted some options. So believe me, I racked my brain and thinking of what I should ask. And like, I was this close to asking Tony Khan's thoughts on the passing of Hulk Hogan. Because while we did get their reaction, AEW did a beautiful job with Tony Schiavone honoring Hulk Hogan on an episode of Collision. Like, what a nice thing Tony Schiavone said, and it was just really, really well done. But we haven't heard from Tony Khan, one of the most prominent figures in pro wrestling today, talking about one of the most prominent figures in pro wrestling of all time. And I figured, man, should have asked him about that, and I should have. Same thing too. If I were to follow up on that, I would ask about maybe a lower price point for pay-per-views. Robert has mentioned this before, maybe not on air. I don't know if he has or not, but how great of an idea it would be for AEW to drop their pay-per-view price point to literally like $5 a month, $5 per pay-per-view. You get a whole new audience just paying $5. So I should have asked maybe about that. Should have asked about maybe Jericho's status. Right now, it's I think report from the Observer is that Jericho, there's no plans to bring Jericho back in AEW until his contract expires. So definitely racks my brain after the fact of, dang it, Dominic. Damn it, Tom. Should have asked that. So maybe next time. But don't know where I was going with that. But either way, we have AEW Forbidden Door to talk about. We also have SmackDown to preview. Let's see. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Jeff Hedinger says, is it really a Forbidden Door if everyone knows the key is under the mat? What a great line. It's true. Look, Tony Khan talked about this and how he had to call some audibles when it came to the Forbidden Door card. Like, there's a lot of AEW matches on the Forbidden Door card. And he made mention, Stardom stuff's going on, the G1 Climax, blah, 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 blah. And, like, it made sense to that why there was more AEW-focused matches on the card than there was, hey, cross-promotion brands and stuff like that. Right now, it's a kind of a dead concept, I think, in general, Forbidden Door. There was some value in it when a whole lot of New Japan talent wasn't in the AEW ecoscape, but now everybody is. And so nothing feels very special when it comes to that stuff. And if it did feel special, the promotion for that has never been ultimate, I think, because you're dealing with two different promotions and you're not maybe, I don't know, it just has not been a cohesive kind of operation, I think, when Forbidden Door has come around. And now it just feels lesser than, especially now that the Forbidden Door on the WWE side of things seems really much more intriguing. You have TNA, you have AAA Lucha Libre, and even the fact when even in their own system, like I know that's all in their own system in a certain way, but in their own system of when NXT people kind of cross through, up into through that through whether it's SmackDown or even you have Evolve or WEID talent, that is way more Forbidden Door than Forbidden Door is, right? I mean, it technically isn't because WWE owns AAA Lucha Libre, owns Evolve, owns the WEID stuff and everything like that. But it's just like the independent aspect of it all, the optics of it all feels a little bit more Forbidden Door than what Forbidden Door is. So, but that's, yeah. So Forbidden Door, don't want to say it feels lesser than because the card is pretty overall fun. And I think, that is something to hang their hat on. I did want to make mention. So, fellow colleague of BrassRingMedia.com, Zach Haydorn. Support Zach Haydorn. Go to, if you haven't, follow Zach at Zach_Haydorn. That's Hey Dorn. So, like hey, HEYDORN. And Zach is spelled with a K. So Zach_Haydorn. Give him a follow on X and tell them I sent you. But he actually interviewed Will Ospreay this morning for Sports Illustrated. And Will Ospreay had some things to say. Spoke for the first time in detail about the injuries that are currently plaguing him. He says, I am compromised. I've got a few herniated discs pushing against my spinal cord, which is affecting a couple of my nerves. But I can do stuff, and I can perform one last time before I need to go and get it all corrected. Excuse me. Ospreay said that he's been wrestling with this injury for 10 months, but was an MRI after All In that detailed severity and the greenlit the plan for surgery. I got told after All In that I was going to need to rest and take some time off to see how this is going to go. And then the MRIs come back, and I got told this is worse than we thought it was going to be, but that's manageable. It's absolutely fine. The surgeon even told me that it's not going to get any worse. It just needs to be corrected. As for fans that may be worried about his well-being or whether or not he's taking too much of a risk performing at Forbidden Door this weekend, Ospreay said he's got a wonderful medical team and an even better partner looking out for him. I have a huge medical team around me, the guys that work with AEW. Ospreay said they would not allow me to go in the ring unless if it was a huge percentage of risk of me getting hurt. Like, honestly, do you think my wife would let me go in the ring if there's a higher chance of me dying? Ospreay said he's nervous for what the future holds because he's unsure what he'll be like after surgery. That's why Forbidden Door says he's ready to go all out. I know what lies ahead, and I know what's going to be coming after this. I just don't know what it looks like. People have said that after this, like, there's things you're going to have to say no to, and there's things you're going to have to turn tone down with on my style, and it's not computing in my head because I feel like I'm in good shape right now. If there's even a smallest chance I'm not going to be the exact same afterwards, I'm just going to go in there at Forbidden Door and just be Will Ospreay for one last night. Okay. Nice work, Zach. This is the best thing for Will Ospreay across the board. Get the surgery. Go all out at Forbidden Door if that's what you want. But then tone it back. Ospreay has shown everybody in any company that he can be a top star in pro wrestling today. How he delivers his promos, how he connects with the fans, his look, he's a good-looking dude. He is athletic. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to do everything. You've established yourself. You've worked to get to this point. And you've sacrificed your body to get to this point. I think what the best he can do for the fans is prolong his career as long as possible and protect himself as much as possible. Do some of your fun stuff. And hey, by all means, I am just some Joe Schmo that can't do a drop kick and can barely step through the ropes. But from a fan perspective and from a guy that cares about the business and loves pro wrestling for what it is and what it is capable of, Will Ospreay is capable of all that by doing less. I hope that makes sense. But best of luck to Will. I think he's awesome. At one point, I would love to interview him and pick his brain on a whole bunch of stuff because he's a fascinating person and a smart person too. So salute to you, Will Ospreay. And salute to Zach Haydorn for that great interview as well. Happy Friday, fake lady. All right. Surprise 0 hour for pay-per-views isn't on Max. Yeah, that's kind of weird too, right? I mean, you get the YouTube buzz, but why not get it going on Max? I would love to see that relationship cultivate even further. Like, I don't know if it's just a Android thing here or if this is how the app is for if this is for how the map is. Sorry, I just got a text. For iPhones as well. But to navigate to get to Dynamite, it's still a weird task. You have to type in AEW, and then you actually have to type in AEW Dynamite to get the latest episode of AEW Dynamite. So I would love to see that kind of boost up a little bit more. You know what I mean? Get that thing going, cooking a little bit. Let's see. Yes. Right. Dre Owen said, not Dre. All Jake says, do not rush back. Don't want to see anyone in a wheelchair or worse. Yes. Ospreay has done so much to his body already at this age. What is he, like 30? 29? I don't know what age he is, but, you know, he's already put his body through the ringer. I would just tone it back, Find some good Jim Duggan stuff to do, that preserves your body for a long time and that can play the hits and you still get a pop from the crowd. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's a different time, but I don't think in today's world you need to do all that stuff. What makes Will Ospreay special is how he talked on Wednesday night. That's what makes Will Ospreay special. More so than the wrestling. The wrestling helped him get there, helped him get some notoriety. But if you can connect with a crowd like Will Ospreay can, there's no stopping you. So, yeah. Okay, let's take a look at. Let's open that Forbidden Door, shall we? And see what's on tap. Obviously, we talked about some of this already, but I will give you my predictions. AEW. I just like how I typed in AEW Forbidden. Okay, here we go. Let's take a look at the card here. Wow! 9 matches are announced so far. That's a lot of matches. Okay, so we'll start with the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin taking on Brodido and FTR. 3-way tag team elimination match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Wow, so it's an elimination match. This is peculiar. This was the perfect out, and the reason I was not completely against what they did on Wednesday night with this tag match was that you give the Hurt Syndicate an out to not get pinned or take a loss. This does not do it for it, though, if it's an elimination match. Because everybody's got to lose except one team. Man, that makes this... It does create intrigue because will the Hurt Syndicate actually lose? Who will you pick for this? So I was of the mindset FTR was going to win the titles and then put them up on the line against Cope and Christian. And I still think that'll happen. So I will say that FTR wins this match. Will it be the best decision? I just don't think making it an elimination match will be the best decision. It was the best decision for the Hurt Syndicate or for the parties involved either. I would like to see, ultimately, I would have liked to see Brodido get the win, maybe against FTR, so Hurt Syndicate was protected. But now that doesn't seem like it's on tap because it's an elimination match, I'm going to just say FTR wins it because I can just imagine All Out, those tag team championships on the line for Cope and Christian to go for. Speaking of, we got Cope and Christian taking on Kip Sapien and Killswitch, a.k.a. Luchasaurus. And yeah, Cope and Christian going to win this one. Obviously, that's their first match back. You got to get them. They're not on the same page, but they're writing in the same book. This might help them get on the same page. So Cope and Christian win this one here. We have Zack Sabre Jr. and Nigel McGuinness in what will be probably the most Forbidden Door match there is on this card. Because it's for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. I can only imagine Zack Sabre Jr. will retain on this one with Nigel giving him a run for his money. Robert perhaps predicted that Daniel Garcia might turn heel on Nigel. Was that Robert or Justin Barrasso that did that? I can't remember. Either way, I could see that for seeing that happening because what has happened to Daniel Garcia? He has been off everybody's radar. So if you turn him heel, I think that's a new beginning for Garcia, and you can cultivate a feud between him and Nigel, so on and so forth. We have Kyle Fletcher taking on Hiromu Takahashi. Kyle Fletcher retains this, I will say. Hiromu does not do it for me. He's talented, but he just does not fit the bill of like a physical presence that I can buy into a lot of ways. It was just a glaring thing when I saw him just straight up beat Josh Alexander, who wrestles like $1 million and looks like $1 million. And then you got Takahashi, who carries a stuffed cat around and is not in the greatest of visual appearance, physical shape. And him getting the win off of Alexander, it suspended my disbelief. So, did I say that right? Did it dissuspend my disbelief? I don't know. I'm a journalist, everybody. Mercedes Moné is your AEW TBS champion, and she will be defending it against Alex Windsor, Persephone, and Bozilla in a fatal 4-way match. Mercedes Moné has been still on that belt collecting run. I don't know what they're doing with it. I just don't. Zero clue. I would have gave her the title against Timeless Toni Storm, but they didn't do that. And so, is she treading water from collecting belts and titles and stuff like that? Because she's not collecting any titles here; she's just defending one. I'm going to say Mercedes wins it, and everybody else is going to move on. Maybe this will cultivate more of a singles feud between her and Alex Windsor or somebody. Tony Khan spoke highly of both Persephone and Bozilla on the conference call too, as well. Speaking of Timeless Toni Storm, she will be defending her AEW Women's Championship against Athena. I think this is too soon. Unfortunately, I don't think that this feud is long for this world, and it should be. However, as I say that, I'm going to put a vote of confidence in that they'll do the right thing and have Athena win this thing. She will be your new AEW Women's World Champion, I think, after Forbidden Door. Athena is my choice to win this. And I think that would be the best move for everybody, Toni Storm included. We also have Kazuchika Okada, your AEW Unified Champion, going up against Swerve Strickland. Now, there's been reports that Swerve has been dealing with a torn meniscus since almost a couple of years, I think. That's crazy. And if that's the case, maybe he's going to take some time off. And Okada will be retaining that championship that he recently unified to be the Unified Championship. So I think Okada wins this one. Wow, I covered that ground pretty quick. Oh, you know what? I'm forgetting a big one here. It's Adam Hangman Page. Or Hangman Adam Page, your AEW World Champion, going up against Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, as he's better known as. And what a wild, head-scratching feud this has been so far. Hangman tricked MJF into using his AEW Casino Royale contract to challenge Hangman for this title, and then MJF pulled the rug out from under Hangman by threatening to light Mark Briscoe on fire in what was a very unbelievable segment. And so I think Hangman retains, and they're kicking this can down the road for future stuff. If Hangman is counted out or disqualified, he will lose the title. So I could maybe imagine him actually beating MJF relatively clean in this, and then MJF just has a thorn stuck in his side. That is Hangman Page, and once that alleviated, so then he actually later on has to earn his championship spot, even though that is a babyface move. We'll see how it all transpires, but I do think Hangman Page retains. And then what was speculated, obviously, to be the main event is the Golden Lovers. That's Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi teaming up with Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Will Ospreay going up against the Death Riders. That's Claudio Castagnoli and John Moxley as they team with the Young Bucks. That's Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, also known as Rod and Todd. And then there's Gabe Kidd involved as well. I'm going to say, this could go really either way. I think that the good guys win. And maybe, hopefully, causes further dissension with the Death Riders. Their faction to be fractured, and you can lean into the fun that's been those Young Bucks as they've tried to gain some credibility without the help of AEW production team. And then maybe you can heat up Gabe Kidd in some form or fashion as well and make him something a little bit more viable too. Maybe they take out Will Ospreay in devastating fashion, or maybe Ospreay wins for everybody and then goes away, which is cool, I think, too. This has been head-scratching in a lot of ways because you have Kenny Omega. Where's Kenny Omega been? He's been an afterthought. He's just been away. So you have one of your top stars showing up on here, and then I don't know. And then you've been embedding Hiroshi Tanahashi on your television program. It kind of takes away the allure of seeing him wrestle at Forbidden Door because he literally just wrestled on Wednesday night. Uh, Darby Allin being back is cool, but it's also, and Tony Khan put Darby over big time on the conference call, saying that he was like one of the top guys for sure, and I I think that down the road at some point there's a world title run in Darby Allin's future, but like I'm just not interested in him and Moxley. I'm not interested in anything the Death Riders are doing because they're the Death Riders. So, hey, there's my thoughts on Forbidden Door this weekend. Let's see what you guys have thoughts on. MJF winning the world title while still holding the casino contract wouldn't work. He has to lose. Yes, exactly. Ron Ward says a torn meniscus is very common. A lot of people have one and don't know and never need surgery on it. It's very common and not the end of the world usually. I think for, maybe a year above average athlete, which is certainly what Swerve Strickland is, you probably don't maybe need it. But I've known people that played, like, I have a friend that played rugby and he had a torn meniscus. He literally just was not able to play for it. And I think NFL players, they have to take time off if they tear their meniscus. I don't think it's usually a good thing to kind of ignore for a long period of time, especially for as long as it seems Swerve has. Even if they just picked it up and noticed it, maybe he hasn't been ignoring it. Maybe he has been. But either way, I'd probably get that corrected. Yeah, hopefully Athena will find the Forbidden Door out of ROH. I think that has been the Forbidden Door, has been ROH. It's been locked. Oh my God. I forgot about Megan Bain. They have fumbled Megan Bain because I forgot about her. It's crazy. Yes, they forgot. Yeah. Jeez. Frustrating. Awesome and Tanaka was always a fun match. Yes, it was. ECW One Night Stand, the first one. Holy crap, that match was amazing. Wrestling Old, it says Bozilla is a beast. I hope they give her proper treatment. Her versus Megan Bain could be good if built correctly. Yeah, if built correctly. That's the key aspect. Oh no. Is that true? Isn't Mercedes wrestling tonight in London for another title? Probably. I wouldn't be shocked. So, all right. That's Forbidden Door, everybody. Let's take a quick preview of SmackDown. The Blue Brand, if you will. But speaking of the Blue Brand, let's talk a little bit about our friends. You know what friends they are. They're our longtime friends at Blue Chew. Guys, enter the room. Dick first. Blue Chew isn't just a label. It's a cheat code for your crotch. That's right, it is. It is a cheat code. And stronger, harder, longer lasting, like someone gave your downstairs a pep talk, and a gym membership. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. Guys, this isn't just about performance. It's about legacy. Or hey, third legacy. Give her a group chat something to talk about. When you lay it down, they're talking about how it goes up. Nothing makes you more of a legend than a little Blue Chew. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. As always, get your first month of Blue Chew free. FREE. Just use promo code RUMOR at checkout and pay $5 for shipping. That's it. Join Blue Chew's mission to upgrade humanity one thrust at a time. Head to BlueChew.com for details and safety info. And big thanks to Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Yeah, Blue Chew. All right. Let's talk about that Blue Brand in SmackDown. What do they got on top of for night? They are in Dublin, Ireland, in light of Clash at Paris next week. And let's take a little gandarooski, about what they have planned here. Can I find the preview? Speaking of, while I find the preview, be sure to check out the new Working Stiff is up, as you can get Robert's full thoughts on Forbidden Door with Scott Chaplin as they preview the event. They also talk about AAA Lucha Libre on there as well. So some fun stuff that you can always check out. There's such a great riot of a show. Robert loosens the tie a little bit more so than he does on here, and drops some cuss words and the discourse is way more edgy than it could be here sometimes. So I'm taking a look at the SmackDown preview. Hold on. You know what? I got to give a shout out to two websites that do the best job at previewing stuff. That is my site at scoops.com, and Fightful does a really straightforward, to the point job of what's on tap. This is according to SE Scoops. Advertised matches and segments for the show include John Cena returns. Cena is expected to make a major announcement, possibly related to his feud with Brock Lesnar ahead of WrestlePalooza. Yeah, I could all imagine that will be the announcement, is his match against Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza in Indianapolis here on September 20th. Love them Motor City Machine Guns, and they will be in action tonight against Mellow Don't Miz. That's Carmelo Hayes and The Miz. Is that their team name? Look, that's not a good name. I really want Mello to be a singles wrestler. Mello Don't Miss. Oh, I kind of like it now. I get it. Mello Don't Miss. Mello Don't Miss. I like it now. I'm back on track. Aleister Black versus R-Truth. It should be a fun one. I love Aleister Black. Love R-Truth. By the way, I've interviewed R-Truth. I need to post it. That'll be up soon. That's pretty evergreen interview that I do. So me and him talk about favorite rap artists, and we talk about Road Dogg. We also talk about Jackie Crockett. So that is my little interview with R-Truth. That should be up. I'll try to get that up next week for everybody here. Street Profits, that's Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They're taking on the MFT. That's Tala Tonga and JC Mateo, or Tonga Loa. We don't know yet. Freebird Rules. Street Profits, I think we talked about this on here. Montez Ford should go on a solo run. I understand he wants to look out for Angelo Dawkins, and that's super duper cool. But there's so much star power in Montez Ford. I think there's star potential in Angelo Dawkins too. Somebody said that they could see him with the Intercontinental Championship on, and I could see that too. And I think that's a perfect A-OK thing for Angelo Dawkins. So I think you should split up Street Profits. Somebody else that's been doing great with it as a team though is Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Charlotte will be going solo this tonight though against Piper Niven. They're basically in her backyard, being in the UK and everything. So it'll be a fun match. Should be a neat clash going on there. So that is what's on tap for SmackDown. Holy smokies. Wrestling Old says Swerve tore his meniscus in 2019, if I remember correctly. So he's been doing that for 6 years. Jiminy Cricket. Wowzers. Hot take, Mox should pin Darby. Why is it? I think that is a hot take because I just don't like the Death Riders. Wrestling All That says Death Riders win, so Darby beats Moxley at All Out. The whole face squad is dealing with injuries collectively at their 60%. LOL. Yeah, I certainly see that. I'm just sick of the Death Riders. Anytime I can make a prediction where it ends the Death Riders, I'm going to do it, even if it might be wrong, because I think it should end. Dre Owens disagrees with Wrestling Old Head about something. I think it's this. MJF winning the world title while still holding the casino contract. One word he has to lose. And then Dre Owens says, Wrestling Old Head, I disagree. Having the title and a guaranteed rematch, I think could be fun. It's true, too. It's a little different thing on there. I just don't foresee it. I think they're trying to make a little bit of a fail-safe for MJF here and kind of further that, kick that can down the road, as I said earlier. The Don Callis family should have been the new heel faction after AEW All In. Something to that effect. What I ultimately would have loved to see is Jake Roberts have that faction that he was originally seeming to get together with Lance Archer way back in the day. Instead of Jake trading Lance Archer for Los Inagorables that he's never out with, how great would it have been if Jake had this psychotic compound of nuts and freaks run roughshod on everybody in AEW. I mean, that's kind of what would have been really great. And with Jake the Snake at the helm of it all, it's just captivating storytelling right there. That's what they should have done. That's what they still should do. I did ask about Jake the Snake one time on a conference call, I think, and what his status was. I can't remember. To Tony, I can't remember. But I haven't seen Jake in a while. He was just in Pittsburgh for the Riverhound soccer game. I did not get to see him. I don't think my brother Marcus, who co-hosts the podcast with him, Snake Pit, check it out, met up with him either. I think their stars did not align. Marcus had daddy duties to worry about, and just did not happen. Yeah, exactly. Jake Roberts would make a good cult leader, like a Raven character, almost with his version of the flock. 100% and 100%. That's what they should have done way at the beginning, and that's where I thought they were going. Lance Archer was like destroying guys in like a backyard wrestling ring, and he was like the monster. Who else could you have introduced in there? How great would have been if you got a hold of Mance Warner way back when, and like made him part of that, where he was like almost like the Rick Steiner and Varsity Club, where like he was the guy that had the wool pulled all over his eyes, and then eventually he turned babyface. There's so much cool potential. There still could be, if you can get Jake back in the mix of it all. Yes, trust me, Jake Roberts as a manager in AEW is a missed opportunity. 100% it is. It's not utilizing Arn to his fullest abilities either was a missed opportunity. Not using Tully to his fullest abilities was a missed opportunity. Not using any of those legends to their fullest extent to help build up the future talent of the day has been a missed opportunity. And that's what's been so frustrating with AEW over the course of these 6 years. And, it's a shame. It's a shame. So, yeah, here you go right here. This is Dre Owens. Get you the faction right here. Archer, Mortos, and the Gates of Agony, managed by Jake the Snake Roberts, could have been great. Still can be. You're all under contract. Why not do it? Pay attention, Tony. Take a look. Dre Owens has it right here for you. All right. Yes, it should have been. Utilizing the legacy acts to get over younger talent should have been a priority in AEW. It wasn't. And that's what was so frustrating. The cool options and prospects that you had back then, when you had Tully, when you had Jake, when you had Arn, and like building up these like stars, young guys, you make them feel like a bigger deal if they're associated with legends of the business. And Jericho was doing his job at it too. Before Jericho leaves him, have him put over Ospreay and Strickland. Like, have it like Jericho, for what people think are his faults and stuff like that, where people don't benefit from him. Like, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I don't think the follow-up with what they do with Jericho is what happens to these stars. Big Bill was on the rise with Brian Keith, who I love. You could do more. You could build them up more. You look at what happened with Sammy, Guevara. And whoever else was involved with the Jericho Inner Circle. Yeah, Santana and Ortiz. People criticize Jericho for this them not hitting the mark, or, Jericho, it's such a misnomer, I think. It's how AEW followed up with everything is what the real issue was. Jericho did what he was supposed to do. And then some. And yeah, did Jericho benefit? Absolutely. But that's the name of the game. As a pro wrestler, the business is not show friends, okay? So, but Jericho did look out for others. And so I think that's a shame that Jericho gets that labeled on. Because I think, he's somebody that viably tried to help out talent get over. And I don't think it's a fair thing to label Jericho with that at all. There we go. See, Action Andretti. Jericho put him over 100%. Where's Action Andretti been? It comes down to the follow-up, the follow-through, what you're doing. Jericho can only do so much as a top star. Hey, I'm going to let this guy pin me. I'm going to let this guy get the better of me. I'm going to let this guy make an ass out of me. And then it's what you do next. Jericho was the guy that got AJ Styles over WWE. Exactly, Jeff. Exactly. Jericho gets such a bad rap because I think people look at outer elements of him that they don't like or something to that effect. Whereas Jericho is just a wrestler, and he does his job. He's a star. So, yeah, you have to have a bit of an ego about you, which there's nothing wrong with that. if you're in the pro wrestling business. You should. You should. If you don't have an ego about yourself, you're not going to make it as a top star. Most times not. There's some exceptions to the extent. Bryan Danielson. But even Bryan Danielson, his ceiling could be much higher than what it was if he did kind of have a little bit more 1-2 at the same time. So sometimes not having an ego about yourself doesn't ultimately help you in the grand scheme of it. Yes. TK needs the question, okay, and then what when it comes to the follow-up? 100%. 100%. Tony, get me on the line. I need a job. I need some help right now. So I'm happy to help you. Help me, help you, help you, help me. How's that sound? All right, that'll do it for today. We'll be back on Monday, as we are every Monday through Friday here on the Rumor and Innuendo YouTube channel, the @AdFree Shows YouTube channel, at the Oh You Didn't Know YouTube channel, and you can follow me on X @Dominic D'Angelo. You can follow Robert on X @WCreative_ish. We go live there too, both on our X channels. And there's another, SC Scoops X account. So check it out. Also, check out my wrestling Substack article just posted. I got a quote from Mick Foley about the 30th anniversary of his IWA death match against Terry Funk, where he became the Deathmatch King. Mick Foley gave me an exclusive about his thoughts about that moment 30 years later, and gives you a significant thing to think about, a what if to think about as well. So check it out. Go to substack.wrestlingwriting.com. I think that's right. Let me make sure. Substack. Boom, boom. No, I'm sorry. Wrestlingwriting.substack.com. Go there. Subscribe to it. It's free. I don't have a paywall on there. So read it. Subscribe to it. Hit the like on there. Share it. Please share it if you like it. It's a fun stuff. So I was really happy that I was able to cover it and talk about it. Thanks. Tony Hire Dom. Hashtag Tony Hire Dom. Hey, hire me. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. No, I'll see you Monday. We'll talk about Forbidden Door. We'll talk about Preview Raw. We'll do what we can, as we always do. So best of luck in your future endeavors. And hey, let's go Jets. They're playing the Eagles tonight. Fly, Eagles, fly. Not tonight.